you could be missing out on free wins on Junkertown. Hi everyone, Links, Mr. Bronze Connoisseur here, and today I want to talk about high ground, and I want to talk about Junkertown. Now, obviously Junkertown isn't the only place with high ground, but this game that I played, we're only going to show one slight part of it. We're just going to show the second round because this is the round where I was defense, and we're going to be seeing it from two angles. We're going to be looking top down onto the area of Junkertown here, where we've got the high ground that we'll be occupying, and we have an overview of the high ground that the enemy can take. And obviously, all the high grounds are connected, and it is possible for both teams to reach all sides of the high ground. Now, I personally am of the opinion that this bit of the high ground really is the one that the defending party needs to focus on. This particular L here, and across the bridge here, and this like three sides of a square here. They are going to be your best friend. This is going to be where all the action is. Now, I just want to make two things very clear before we go any further. We will be looking at this game with the overlay, and that isn't part of it, but I will be switching it on in just a moment. So, first of all, let's define high ground. I know it sounds ridiculous to have to do so, but we're here at the Bronze Connoisseur, and we want to make sure we get the basics right. So, high ground is any area that is elevated, that you can stand on and shoot the enemy from. Seems pretty basic. You want to choose your high ground well. You want to choose it so that it makes you difficult to hit, and preferably it allows you to either have an escape route or some way to get into cover. Right? Junkertown's high ground has this. That's good. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that this is Junkertown, and we're only going to talk about the first point. The first point is where you can get your free wins because of this choke right here. This is the important bit of Junkertown's first point. None of the rest matters as much, although you can still fight on those areas, but this choke, this is where all the magic is. This is where you're going to be winning or losing your free games. Because, unlike a lot of high grounds, this particular bit of payload has to go through is highly contested on both sides by high ground. Meaning that if you as the attacking party can't clear the defense off the high ground first, you're going to have a bad time. To quote the South Park meme, you really will have a bad time. It is so difficult to hit the people on the high ground while you're going through this choke. So this is where you want to be focusing your energy. Now, what I want us to focus on this game is my perspective and my positioning on this side. So there's a reason we do both, is because I discovered a few things in this game that I thought were important about good spots on this high ground that you don't have to leave the high ground for, because I know how it goes. Most of the time when we start playing, we do try to use the high ground and we still get killed, to the point where we start kind of ignoring the high ground in the back of our mind because we've had bad experiences. But high ground really is very good, and knowing how to use it is fundamental, and that's why we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of high ground, and I think this particular video is a good example. Now, I will be getting off the high ground at one point. I think it's to try and secure a kill. I'm not sure if I got the kill or not, but immediately afterwards I returned to the high ground and I didn't come off it. And I'm including my own perspective here because I found out that to lay pressure onto the choke, you can actually stay on the high ground and still do a lot. So we're all obviously starting here on the high ground, and unfortunately our tank was a bit late, but that's okay. As you can tell, we are really trying to stay focused on this bit of high ground here, and some of our players are starting to leave the high ground. Like the tank especially is trying to pressure. The Reaper knows he needs to come get us off high ground, but we were luckily enough people, and he dies for it. So they arrive at the important choke, and this is where we are really putting on the pressure coming in from high ground. There's, the tank on the low ground. I join the tank on the low ground to help assist the kill here, and then I return straight back to the high ground. Now, this is where the rest of my team starts going to the low ground, which is pretty common. Once the one team fight has happened, people start getting off the high ground. because they're trying to contest the payload specifically, but the choke will do that for us. So we can just stay here on the high ground. As you can see, I'm trying to run around. I'm not using my shift ability here. That's a bit of a misplay on my part, but I'm trying to stay cover to cover, right? Trying to make sure that it's hard for them to hit me. Since I'm a bit higher up, it's harder for them to hit me completely because they can only see about half of me. And now I have it slightly easier to hit the capsule shape of the head box on them, right? Because I see it from a higher angle, so I have a slightly larger surface area from which to hit it from, and for them, it's likely that they may it hit the edges of the chest hitbox instead if they try to hit from my head because they're shooting from a lower angle. And this is the bit I'm talking about. This is where I discovered that you can kind of walk down the long side of the choke, and you can still fire down the choke. So you can continue to put pressure and damage the enemies despite being on the high ground. Sure, your visibility is limited, but that's actually not too big of a problem. If you can just get a few of those stray shots in, and you are very difficult to hit, um, then you're really fine. And yeah, it really just continues like that for here for me. I made a specific effort not to come off the high ground, to because I've discovered how strong it is now. Unfortunately, we kind of go into an alt domino here, um, but we actually do win the old domino, so it feels like it's not as big of a mistake. Yeah, that we probably didn't need to use all the ultimates here. Um, but yeah, again, this just goes to show that I am essentially uncontested here. The Reaper maybe tried to come after me twice, and I've had a few stray shots come my way. But other than that, nobody is able to touch me with my team on the ground and me on the high ground. They're having to divide their attention. I am just the moment I feel contested, I just move back further on the high ground, put pressure in again, and wait until they meet my team, and eventually they're going to have to get through this choke. And um, yeah, as you can see, I'm just patrolling the high ground, and I'm just trying to make sure I get some kills in. Now, I make a mistake here. It was a bit conscious. I wanted to try and drag the Reaper away from the party to give my team a chance to not take a full fight. The Reaper actually does try to separate them here, but my team actually does a really good job at recovering from that pincer while I come back. The tank is really putting in the hard work while the two supports are under attack from the Reaper, and eventually the tank does win the fight. And before before the choke is even done, they're contesting with two sides of high ground simultaneously, and you can tell that it's a difficult time, right? Obviously, Nano the Reaper is very scary. He takes like no damage, but as you can tell, that choke being contested from two sides of the high ground is just insane. It's so difficult. You can't divide your attention well enough, and you're really at a disadvantage. So if you're on Junkertown, make sure you defend this choke. This is where the action is. This is where you get your free wins. And that's by controlling this high ground as well as possible. Now, obviously, every map has high ground. It's not just Junkertown. I just happened to play a game where I thought it was super obvious, and I had a really good opportunity to show you guys, just how powerful high ground can be. And yes, I didn't do that much, but at the same time, I was almost never looked at. They never shot at me, just a few times. I only died once because I lost a duel to the Reaper, and I knew I would, so I probably should have backed off the other way. I just had an idea in my head, and it didn't work. But hey, you try, you fail, you learn. So yeah, no. What I'm gonna do from here on out is if I see any more other videos that have really obvious bits of high ground that are really valuable that I think everybody should have a look at, just like how I did here with Junkertown, I'll be sure to make videos like that. I'll pin them and make some videos on that. I'll post them to my channel. Yeah, hopefully this was useful. Hopefully you'll be winning more games on defense on Junkertown from here on out. And remember, high ground is really good. Tell everyone, and don't get caught by the Bronze Brotherhood. Alright guys, take care of yourselves out there, and good luck.